A box gathering. Connection.
Okay then, welcome. We're just Adam and myself. We're going to have a sit down and a little bit of discussion, and we've invited Chris along to have a chat around early stages of the box gathering. What's your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, well, I remember the box gathering as it first started, and the origin really was a bunch of sort of England pathway coaches getting together and talking about, obviously, the problems that COVID was going to cause boxing. And at that time, I think we were literally just in that shutdown period for possibly about 2 or 3 weeks, and we were having regular update calls, and it just grew from there, really. It stopped becoming we can't box anymore, and what's COVID-19 going to do? We realised that we were going to be away from ringside for at least 2 or 3 months. And I guess the guys like Adam and yourself, Ivan, you got the inspiration to turn it into something that had put a little bit more meat on the bone. And it included some guest speakers. We had guest speakers from the performance coaches at England. We had 2 or 3, if I'm not mistaken, GB coaches coming on and tell us how GB works up at Sheffield, which I thought was fascinating. And then guest speakers from Chuck Webner, who, for anybody who didn't see that one, was probably one of my favourites, who was the real Rocky Balboa, or certainly who the film was based on. And then we had Richie Woodall, which was fantastic. Mick Driscoll's story about his coaching time in Africa was another highlight. So it just grew from there, and that includes also a handful of top professional boxers. Joshua Boazzi was a good one. I know Anthony Corolla's been on recently. So yeah, it's just grown, and it's been something that for me has been a useful resource. And I guess, if I were to sort of apply a testimonial to the box gathering, I just can't imagine what lockdown would have been like without the box gathering. It certainly kept me connected with other coaches. I've certainly learnt a lot, and hopefully I've been able to share a bit as well. But yeah, somebody else can put value on that.
So it's kind of like how, as Chris says, it's like, how did it actually really start? Obviously COVID happened, and there were just a few little Zoom calls going back and forward with a handful of coaches, like pathway coaches, how you getting on, just touching base on everyone's mental health and, things like that, what we're going to do. And it started growing, growing from like maybe having 6 people on your screen to 12 people on your screen. And suddenly you're swiping across and you've got, I don't know what it is, like 16 on one screen, 16 on another. It's, it's 50, 60 people. Yeah. I can't remember what that whole show was. It was Blankety Blank or something like that, where you had them all in different levels, all these different people from, all walks of coaching in England boxing. It was amazing. But I mean, I sort of remember kind of being involved with that, but it didn't really take shape until a bit later, did it, Ivan? Until we sort of realised this could actually have a real impact if we actually formulate it properly.
Yeah, I think my early doors were why did it start? I just remember speaking to three coaches, and I think it's only right that I don't mention who those 3 are. All within about an hour and a half one morning, and 2 of them were actually living on their own and wasn't looking forward to COVID and was worried, what the thought. We were all quite worried deep down, I suppose, what the outcome was going to be, and how were we going to keep in touch. And at that very time, I think it was a Wednesday, because myself and you, Adam, we done a dice training day and brought our kids in. And to be fair, I think while you or Mick or whoever was chatting, my mind had gone off to think about, we could do something with this with the coaches, and really that's where I think I come off the phone and I've sort of wandered around. I spoke to Mick very quickly, and he was like very, bubbly as he was. And my next call was to you, Adam, and that was something like the Wednesday, the following Friday, a week of Friday, or something like that. We were on air, and we were going with the first ever, whatever it was called. I can't remember what we called it. And then all of a sudden, within a week of that, we were called the Gathering. It became the Gathering, and slowly it became the Box Gathering. And I remember just everyone sitting there, and Mick would phone me or I'd phone you, and what are the questions? What questions shall we leave with today? And then our first very guest was Nigel Wright, because he had already sort of come on there, and we said to Nigel, do you want to talk for 20 minutes, half an hour on your career as a boxer? And then Liam Alloway was a regular guest on there at the time, and I said to him, what would be the chances of getting your dad to come on and talk about GB? And we got a bit of rigmarole come through, and legislation that we was going to have to go through, but it was soon go. And then all of a sudden Dave Alloway was on, and then it just started to go from there. And then, you know, I can't believe who I'm talking to. Next minute you're talking to stars and coaches and that. Just, do you fancy coming on? And it seemed like everybody was just like on. People were just bringing people in from anywhere, you know. And some of the names that have been mentioned is unbelievable. You know, we didn't get them all, and some we're still fighting to get. But it's a memory that really goes. I think that's how it started. I think, and it sort of stemmed from 2 yards from where I'm sitting now to what it is. You know.
And I think all the names that we mentioned. You know, we mentioned. I mean, I'll say my favourite as well was Webner. You know, what a guy. What a guy. And he was sharp, he was funny, he was entertaining, he was sincere, he was real. Everything you wanted to hear. There was kind of like, you felt sad, then you felt inspired, you know, roller coaster of emotions. He was my favourite. But there's other people that I learned so much from as well, and kind of like liked for different reasons. You know, like Adam Booth, knowledge that he had, I was really impressed with him, you know, as a top level pro coach, all the stuff that he had. Crawler was just, for me, grassroots. He was, in terms of where he knew where he come from, and everything seemed to roads lead back to where he came from, who he was, how he was inspired by his hometown, his home coach, you know, his own club, all that kind of stuff. Then there's like people like David Price. You know, we all know that David Price could have been this, didn't quite make it, but he was really open and honest and vulnerable about it, and really reflective about it. And, you know, there was no silliness about, he's trying to protect himself and said he should have been this, or he was ripped off there, or something like that. He was very open about it, and it was just really refreshing. And for me, it gave me a bit of faith, you know, back in sort of the boxing, boxing fraternity or sorority, whatever you want to call it. And other people, you know, like Mickey Driscoll's on there, entertaining everyone, but also inspiring and educating. Gary Hale come on. He was very similar in some ways at how open and honest he was. And it's like, hold on, we're boxing. Aren't we these people that ring fence everything, hide our own knowledge, and stand in the corners and do as best as we can in our own little silo and hope we can get better than that club around the corner or something like that? Of course, there is a bit of that, but suddenly everybody started sort of, you know, lowering the drawbridge and saying, come on in. It's like all these people that you never expected to be like that because they're successful. You're thinking they're successful because they're like that. You know, cards, chess. But now everyone's going to have a look at the cards. Let's have a level playing field now. So that was quite beautiful to me. And so, you know, I think the whole connect, share, grow thing sort of came out then, Ivan, didn't it? You know, we thought, what actually are we about? These people are inspiring us. They're part of what we are. So connecting people together, sharing information, and then you actually got testimonials back from people saying, I love this. I'm really starting to grow as a coach. Hold on, that's not boxing. What's going on? So we're having some kind of, you know, real profound impact upon the sort of coaching community. I thought this is something we need to really get involved in and you know, and take seriously in all that, I suppose. What do you think, guys?
Well, I'll tell you what I think straight away is it's funny you mention that, because when I look at the caliber of the people that we've had on and their willingness to share what in another life would be sort of, you know, industry secrets or their own, you know, their own secrets that would always be well guarded. The one for me was Joe Gallagher. So when Joe Gallagher came on, and I think a question I asked him was about how does he structure? He's huge into video analysis. He's got you know, libraries full of tapes and recordings of different boxers from all over the world, amateur and pro, and looking at how their styles develop and how he can train his fighters to gain the best advantage. When he actually went through the structure of how he analyzes it, and then he gets various sparring partners to throw the shots that they throw, you know, I'm sitting there and thinking, God, if I went up there and asked you to do this for me, if I asked for 10 minutes you could charge me 500 quid and I'll probably pay it to hear secrets like that. And here he is on a Zoom call, expanding on his strategies to a group of boxing coaches up and down the country. So in that way, charge me what you like. Really, it's value for money when you get little snippets of information out like that. And I'm scribbling my notes down. I'm thinking, well, if I ever have to do any video analysis, I've just heard it from the horse's mouth, So yeah, I think that's a great example, Adam. It's the openness with which some of our sports real experts were able to converse and share their knowledge.
Mm-hmm. For me, same as you. We haven't openly chatted about the highlights, but Chuck Webner was outstanding. And for me, to be able to go back virtually to the 24th of March 1975, he took me back to being a kid. Sitting there watching, hoping he was going to be the white man that knocked Muhammad Ali out, and he so close did. Put him down, and all of a sudden, through so many years later, through my computer, I'm sitting there talking to him, and he's sitting in his kitchen, and I'm sitting in my kitchen, and it's as if he's known me for years, and he's chatting away, and everybody who come on, he either wanted to date them or tell them they were famous, and he made us all feel great. And the bloke, it was just so good to think that he actually boxed or went 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali, you know what I mean? And I grew up with Joe Bugner, and he boxed Joe Bugner, and they were one of the early fights I remember back in I think about 72, 73 time. And to think that he boxed Muhammad Ali, and you're just sitting there talking to the fella, and I was just in awe of him, and it was so good. And then he finished with that story about when he bought the underwear for his wife and said, "Put that on tonight because you'll be sleeping with the heavyweight champion of the world." And when he walked in, she said, "Oh, I've got to go down the corridor." It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. And, he was funny throughout. And, yeah, that just put a smile on my face, and it made us think, wow, this is really worth doing it, everything we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And
but the thing is, it's like Mark Collins got hold of him, didn't he? Mark Collins knew him. And it's like we could sit here and email agents and email people and social media contact everybody and all that and try what we want, and we'd get a minuscule amount of return probably. But what I think is special about what we're doing is that it's the membership, it's the coaches that are going, I know this person, or I know someone through someone, I'll contact them. So Mark Collins brings on Chuck Webner. I'm sitting there going, bloody Chuck Webner, 10 inches from my face. I'm like, what's all that about? And then you've got people like, your Josh Quaxley's, your David Price's, all just, right, okay, I just watched them on, boxing on TV 2 days ago. It's bringing people together, but other people doing it for us. You see what I mean? Everyone's going, well, I'll bring them on. So everyone's kind of that, that connect part of connect, share, grow is it's the first part, connect. And it's amazing. So people are connecting for us. Everybody's sharing the information amongst each other, whether that be a social media thing, chatting on our Facebook page. We've got a massive WhatsApp group with stupid amount of people on it. Everyone's chatting on there, they're chatting about the boxing last night, the yard fight, all that kind of stuff. It never sort of stops. So that's our share part. The grow part is why we're having a reflection now, I suppose. We've had all these guests. We've got the website now. It's all singing, all dancing. I mean, Ivan, you have the access to who's downloading what, don't you? Or not who's downloading what, but you can see what's being downloaded. And people are downloading thousands of PowerPoints, journals, photos, whatever that we've got on there because they want that information. And I think the reason why they like that is because they feel, one, it's from a credible source. It's back to a science, it's back to reality, but it's almost like they trust the information that's on there because it comes from everyone. It's not just Ivan Cobb's, experiences, or Ivan Cobb's views and opinions, or Adam Hanover's, or Chris Lodge's, or Mick Driscoll's, or whoever's. It's everyone's. And I think that's a real powerful thing. So connect, share, grow is massively what we're all about. And it is a T-shirt in itself, isn't it? Connect, share, grow. So so I'm proud for that to be our kind of our hashtag, I suppose. Our raison d'etre. So I suppose the next question is what's the future hold for us, Ive?
Oh, sky's the limit, really. But I think, we've had to set a little bit of a charge and a little bit of costing, but we're definitely not going to look to make any money out of this, really. We've offered to give most of it back to grassroots. We're looking to just cover our costs, and I've been offered people to pay and help us, and I've refused to take money until we knew exactly what we want to do with it, because I didn't want to tie, and to be fair, my family have footed the bill for the first few months, since March, and we are looking just to develop, and we hope that everyone continues to support this, and we will drive forward. And there are lots of things, and it would be silly to say what our plans are now, because in case we don't deliver, but I'd like to think we will, and there's no reason why we can't. And January's already looking bright with a couple of guests already sort of like penciled in, but I'll be like, you'll have to wait until after Christmas to hear who that's going to be.
Sure. And I think formally we've got people supporting us now as well, haven't we? From certain guest companies. Do you want to tell us a bit more about that, Ive?
Yeah, I mean, one of the first people to ever come and say, look, I love what you're doing, and I want to fund back it, is Ken Waddington. He runs a reputable roofing company, and he said from the word go, just tell us how much it is, I'll fund it, and I was, well, I don't really want to take any money because I don't know where it's going and what this is yet and what this is going to look like. So once we know something what it looks like, we'll be in touch. And true to his word, Ken's come up and made a lovely donation towards, helping us get on the way. And without that, we'd probably be struggling. So we're really grateful for his donation, to be fair.
I think as well, it's not just, that's amazing for us. We really needed it. But it's not just that financial backing as well. It's backing for us is a simple push of a like, a share. Share is the big one. Share that button. Push that share button. In a Facebook, in an Instagram, whatever it might be, Twitter. Retweet. Because that is what we do. That's sharing. That's our membership sharing. That's who we are. Share the information, get it out there, and that's just a simple thing that can be done. And it hits so many people. And on the back of that, we get new members coming in every day, signing up for the website. So the website's free of charge, and at this point, and you get all that information on there. So we've got things like the Coach's Corner. So that's one part of the website. So on the Coach's Corner, we've got lots of different sort of subfolders. So technical, tactical, physical, lots of mental ones, nutrition ones in there, and you can go in there and just download a PDF. And at the moment, they're free of charge. We're looking to work with strength and conditioning coaches who are actually going to have their own little section in there. They're going to populate it with S&C information. There's going to be a women's only section, warm-up sections. There's going to be a physio corner from a boxer who's a physio who's going to put some physio information in there that people can go in. All these different varied angles of what makes boxing and what makes boxing coaching. That we're going to look to cover as much as we can. So whatever your need is, it should be covered within that. So, and then of course you've got the campfires where we have a bit like the conversations we're having now. So recorded information that people can download and look into. It might be something that tickles your pickle and think, I'm going to watch that. I'm going to stream that. But there will be something for everyone. So. It's really exciting, and of course with the live gatherings, Ivan, you're the one that really sort of you're the flagship for that. You spearhead it. We've got some pretty exciting people. I don't think we want to say at the moment who, do we? But we've had some good conversations recently, and I think Chris is slightly party to some of them. There's some big names coming on, some really exciting people. So in terms of the content of the website, it's brilliant, and just keep checking in on it. There's going to get more information on there daily that we're uploading to it as well. So the new guest side, exciting stuff without giving too much away.
Yeah, top man. That's all I'll say. Reach the highs of his pinnacle, and without doubt, I'm sure it'll be worth listening to, and I for one will be glued to what he's got to offer. So that's it. One or two other ones still in the pipeline, and obviously there's a few good campfires still to come up, and a couple of the ladies have run some really good ones on eating and the nutrition and things like that. So that they're looking to put a second one on to that as well. So I think there's some good stuff to come out, and hopefully that'll all be out before Christmas, really.
Sure. So Chris, what do you think? So
I think
why you know why are we going to move forward? What would you expect to see or hope to see moving forward with us?
what would I hope to see? Well, first of all, let me just touch on the breadth of information that's out there, because as Ivan said, I mean, they're for many years when I first started coaching, you kind of walked around in the gym and you try and listen to other coaches having conversations to see how they did things, and you try to glean a bit of information here. Very often, you're of a mindset where you think, well, if I have to ask, it makes me look a bit silly, and what are people going to tell me anyway? But this is a great place. This is a great place, the Box Gathering, to find a real proper knowledge base of all those questions that you might have wanted to ask about weight making, about injury prevention, about the proper warm up protocols, and all this kind of thing. So there was even on one of the gatherings, there was a fantastic one where we got a top class 3-star EBA referee involved, and he set us a load of questions, and all of a sudden you think, well, yeah, perhaps I should get the rulebook out again, because getting 15 out of 20 is probably not quite good enough. So there's a whole broad spectrum of information that I certainly have found very, very valuable. But where does it go? I'd like to see kind of reviews on top amateur championships. So perhaps top coaches giving their review on what they think might be bout of the weekend somewhere like the Haringey International Box Cup. Perhaps a standout performance of somebody in the Dev Champs. Perhaps a standout performance in a semi-final or a final for the national championships. So to try and give boxers more coverage, but that I think will probably happen naturally at the top end. But what I'd like to see is perhaps a visit once every other month to a gym that is a small gym that's probably just started out, might not have even been going 6 months or a year, and just go in and interview the coaches about where they see themselves in a couple of years, interview some of the young kids that have perhaps just started sparring or just got carded, and kind of give them a resource for the future as well as sort of giving them a bit of time in the sunshine and a bit of the limelight in the world of boxing. Perhaps give them a resource for growth and an improvement as time goes on. So, yeah, I think there's lots of things to play for. Certainly lots of things to play for at both levels. It's not all about, the national level and the elite national championships. It's also about going into clubs that are new clubs, and coaches that are starting out, boxers that are starting out, and making sure they know where all of this information is.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we agreed, didn't we, Ivan, that 25% of the live gatherings at this point are going to be going back into grassroots. People can bid for that pot of money that will eventually build up, and whatever that might be. It could be someone's rings broke, the ring canvas is a hole in it, the flooring's broken, ceiling's leaking, all these kind of stuff. Can sort of bid for it, and we can help out there. So what we're doing is we're looking after each other. I think that's the main thing. It's it's that kind of giving back into grassroots. It's changing perspective, attitudes. It's sort of providing a platform for all of this to be something that happens. That is not just a pub chat. It's not just something that two coaches rub shoulders in when they're standing at a show. But it's it's almost, we've got to make things a reality, because talk is cheap. But I think we've got a really powerful platform now where we can start actually making things happen. And making these chats actually turn into something concrete, something solid, something, a reality, not just this boxing utopia that everyone wants to see. But let's get there. Let's do something about it, And I think it's a really exciting place to be, Ive, isn't it? So, looking forward to what the future holds.
Yeah, I'm really excited. A lot of people say, thank you, Ivan and Adam, and Mick played a real big part in the early doors as well. But it isn't just about us two or three. It's everybody who's actually been on the gathering, and it's everybody who's linked with those guests. Haven't come because of us; they've become because we're one big union, we're one big group together. And we will provide the platform, providing people who still want to see it. If people still want to hear it and go, we will adjust as we go back to boxing, and we'll take it out in the field. We'll do more stuff. But we do see it as a great thing for coaches to work with. and hopefully it'll grow and grow, and sky's the limit, really.
Mm-hmm.
In
Yes,
terms of what we can bring and what we can do. And like I said, it's not about the money, it's about just putting the money back into the sport. You know, we have all given time to England boxing and boxing as a whole, and this is just another sort of like branch off, or another limb of my development, or what I do as a coach back for the sport. We've never had money, and we don't probably looking for money. It's about what we're doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So to access everything, it's www.theboxgathering.co.uk. So like I say, everyone, share is the middle part of what we do. Connect, share, grow. Share that. Let's get as many people on board as possible. And the more people we get on board, the more that we can offer information to each other, share that information and grow as a sport. And, you know, that way I think we hit the people that we really, really want to be supporting, and that's the boxers. So, yeah, happy days, guys. Happy days.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
At this point,
Cheers, Chris.
At this point now, we normally play the free. I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, but that's not being played for the last couple.
Not recently. Cambridge aren't doing too.
Thanks for joining us today on The Box Gathering. We welcome the global boxing community to connect and share together in order to grow participation, engagement and performance in all our boxers. Join the discussion on social media or visit theboxgathering.co.uk for more interviews, skills videos, literature reviews, bout analysis and more. The Box Gathering, in partnership with England Boxing. Connect, share, grow.